I grew up in a community in Philadelphia, Catholic church community, and one of the most prolific abusers in the Philadelphia Archdiocese lived in our parish. And he really did a ton of damage to a number of boys that were my friends and neighbors. And so I came forward in 1998 before 2002 in Boston when the larger abuse crisis in the States broke. And so I kind of siloed that story most of my life, and then some of these guys that I grew up with that were dear friends of mine when I was very young, in 2016, the first one passed away from a life of addiction and in and out of prison and trouble, and then another young man, James Cunningham, that was Jimmy Spurl, Jamie Cunningham, committed suicide in 2017. The priest himself died in 2017 as well. He was found by a journalist, an investigative journalist from the Philadelphia Inquirer, found him in Dallas. He checked out of he left his house, checked into a hotel, and was dead the next day. And then one of the subjects of the film, John Delaney, has since overdosed. He was one of the guys that I made the film with. So what I did was I went back to my community. I'm a performer and a writer and a stand-up comedian and a storyteller, and I went back to the community and retold the story, reframed it in the local firehouse in a back room at a bar. And I had been telling these stories that weren't necessarily addressing the abuse, but stories, very intimate stories from our community. And then it since has evolved into this film, which is the attention that it's getting right now is truly shocking.
This is about my body. Embodied experience, where you remember everything that happened. It's in your body. This is about trauma. I'm not out to destroy the idea that my 97-year-old grandmother has about Catholicism. I just want to be acknowledged that all the bad shit happened. Like, what's Gerad Argeros' show about? Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like he talks about being molested as a kid. And it's funny, though. It's funny. It's pretty funny. Not that part. That's not the funny part. There's like other stuff.
If somebody's waiting for me to talk about sexual abuse, they're sort of not listening for anything else other than sexual abuse.
What you're doing is amazing, and I don't think you realize, how powerful this is.
That flood of emotions hit me, and it was like everything that you were talking about, I lived it.
People are aware now.
Silence is how they win.
And so interestingly, when I got to town, a few people kind of just approached us on the street, which was very out of body for me. Like someone just said, "Oh, I loved your film." And it was the first time that it had been outside of the very small group of people in Philadelphia who had seen it. So there was a little bit of like, uh-oh, like this is, people see this. But then when we got into the screening, it was just so like answered prayer. To be in community, because it was about community. Like it's about how do you speak to the unspeakable? And my answer is, like, my dad's the oldest of 12 kids, and everything we did in community. We shared food, we shared clothes, we shared everything. And to me, like, there is no other solution to almost anything. It's like, what happened when Homeboy won the election the other day? Like, we all got together. Like, my people just got together and we were like, what? Like all the crazy, but it's the only salve. So it is as if, there's in The Moth, the storytelling collective The Moth, there's this phrase about we're all holding hands under the table. And that is what it felt like. It felt like just people locking arms. And it was really, really like completely, I did not want this to be about my own personal healing. Like that was not my thought or my stated goal. It was really about like bringing my community together and having a frank discussion about this thing that was ricocheting around and frankly killing people. And it was that. It was like very much an answered prayer. And it's hard to be centered here. When in my mind, the community is centered in these boys who have passed away. And like, I still think of them as boys. They were men when they passed, but these were boys. These were boys that carried this poison through their lives. And my friend who was a proper Buddhist rather than like a part-time Buddhist, but she called me up and she just said, medicine from poison. And so that's the feeling.
And I promise you will also laugh. It's also funny. He's an incredible, incredible performer.
Philly.
Yeah.